morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to another episode of Sideboard Files. My name's Manuel, I'm your host here on the show. This time we're going to talk about Hardened Scales Affinity in Modern, and I have the pleasure to have here, once again, sitting right next to me, the one and only Joshua Bausch from Team Phoenix New Dawn.
Yes, glad to be back. Thanks, I'm always
Absolutely a
happy to
pleasure, absolutely a pleasure. All right, so Phoenix New Dawn, you used to be Phoenix 404, that was the name of your team, and now you have a new name.
Yes, exactly, because we want to tell a story with that.
Oh.
At the last year with Introduction to Team Series, we were just some German guys all qualified for the first Pro Tour and then made the team. We referred back to the old Kai Budde team, the Phoenix Foundation.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the old days of Magic here.
Yes, and in us, the Phoenix wasn't found. Therefore, the 404. But now, with Pro Magic in Germany rising again, with new Platinum Pro, more Gold Pros, there's actually a new dawn seeing on the horizon for German Pro Magic. And so we have a new all-star German team for the next team series this year as well.
Fantastic. That's great. So, yeah, the new dawn of the German competitive scene, let's say, from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Very, very good. Okay. So, shall we get into business and start talking about some Magic cards and stuff then?
Yeah, about the best deck in Modern right now.
Best deck in Modern right now. Okay, so Hardened Scales Affinity, that's the deck we're going to talk about. And actually, we're going to go for a sideboard guide for this deck. So your sideboard choices and, a few sideboard plans for the current relevant matchups, in the Modern meta game. But first, let's have a look at your main deck configuration a little bit. What's going on there? Because I think you and the guys of Team Phoenix New Dawn have been working on this, There is like some spicy stuff in there. I mean, you came up with this, like your version is version Hardened Scales 2.0 or something.
There was some versions, some just the normal green. We have the main deck consideration is kind of the standard one for every list, but we stayed mono green, and the spicy tech is the Gemstone Cavern.
Oh yeah, so why is it there?
It's because we thought about how, when we were on the draw, we sometimes fell behind or wasn't explosive enough if we have just a 2-drop, or first place just a 2-drop. And then we was like, okay, is there a card that helps us being a turn faster? And then someone mentioned, here's this Gemstone Cavern. And we tested 3, we tested 1, and at the end, we stayed at 2. And the reason for that is it's a legendary land. If you draw it in the late game, it doesn't matter. You're a colorless deck, so it never hurts you having a colorless land.
Sure.
Drawing 2, it doesn't matter most of the time at all. And if you have it on the draw in your opening hand, you steal the initiative. Basically, you start with 7 after you draw your card, and your opponent started with 7 on the draw as well. So it's like a better being on the draw than being on the play.
You're getting terrain here.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're basically being on the play, and when you're always on the play, it feels good in Magic.
Sure. So it compensates the disadvantage of being, let's say, on the draw, and you can, gain some tempo here.
Yeah, if you play a turn 1 Steel Overseer, it always feels nice because you have to answer it, and if he doesn't, he basically loses.
It can take the game really quick.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anything else you would like to talk about concerning the main deck configuration?
Yeah, we have 3 animation models. Some play 2, some play 1. But we like it in the control matchups, and it's a very explosive card because if you have Archbone Ravager, for example, you generate +1/+1 counters for 1 mana each, and doing that helps the deck a lot.
Sure.
Sometimes if you have more Hardened Scales in play, you just go nuts with the card.
All right, this is like snowballing, right?
Yes, it's snowballing. Sometimes with Steel Overseer, you make X amount of 1/1s, so you flutter board and go wide. You have different angles of the deck, going wide, going big, hitting hard. all works with the deck.
Okay, that's the way we're going to go for with this deck, yeah. All right. Anything else, or shall we go to the sideboard?
We can go to the sideboard.
Okay, so let's have a look at the sideboard. We have it right here. So one Karn Sign of Urza, one Relic of Progenitors, 2 Gravedigger's Cage, 4 Jumping Sphere, 1 Evolutionary Leap, 4 Nature's Claim, and 2 Dismember. So why this selection of cards?
So going into the GP Stockholm, we knew there is a lot of blue-white going around. And blue-white is considered the baddest matchup, but we come to that later. Therefore, we needed some value cards in total. So that's why we have cards like Khan, Sign of Urza, Break of Progenitors, the Evolutionary Leap, all cards that generate value or disrupting graveyard-based strategies in the form of Snapcaster Mage, for example, in the control decks. And that's why we play 3 animation models in the main deck, to have more, so seeing more control-based matchups in the tournament, and so be prepared for the matchups we are considered an underdog.
Okay.
Not so well presented right now, but in Modern anything can happen. So that's why we tuned it more for combo graveyard-based strategies.
So we can say that this is a sideboard that helps you in the tough matchups.
Yes.
It's basically designed for that.
Yes. Having having a better matchup, bringing the maximum out of cards in against them, and just win from there, or disrupt your opponent more than he can disrupt you.
Okay, are there some choices that are different from what you usually would see in a sideboard for Hardened Scales Affinity?
Sometimes you don't see any Gravedigger's Cage, or less. The same goes with Damping Sphere. We just maximize the effects we wanted in this particular cases. And these cards overlap in specific matchup we are bad against, so that's why we have them. Otherwise, you have Nature's Claim is a card everyone plays 3 or 4 of. You need it because all you hate you get is enchantment based, and you need a way to destroy it.
Yeah.
And Nature's Claim is just a best efficient answer for anything in the 4-life. Most of the time doesn't matter. Yeah, then you have just this basic removal spell. Dismember, it's the best colorless removal spell you can have.
Sure.
The 5 4-life is sometimes a cost, but for 1 mana you can't ask for more. Yeah, and then just stuff in form of Khan and Evolutionary Leap, as mentioned, is just some grinding stuff against some control-based.
Okay, so Evolutionary Leap, it's a card you want to have against the control decks.
Yeah, it's like against decks that try to grind, or you need to make card advantage, and you have card effects like Arcbound Worker that puts some mana when it dies. Hangerback Worker is a good example. When it dies, you can generate the X amount of top dust on how many +1/+1 counters it is on it, and it's a sack outlet you need in the deck to protect it from exile removal.
Oh, that's also important. Yeah, after sideboard, you don't want to have your creature pathed to exile and stuff like that. You want to be able,
because then you don't get the modular or the value.
Then you don't have the triggers. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, anything else you would like to mention?
No, that's everything I said.
Okay, very good. So we are ready to start the sideboard guide. So the main portion of the show, and we're gonna start with the blue-white control, which is one of the toughest matchup, if not the toughest matchup for you.
Exactly.
If I understand correctly.
It's the arch enemy of this deck.
Okay.
We try to push it as good as possible, and at the end we just said, okay, that's a matchup you can win if you slam everything you have for if you can kill him, try it, because if they have a removal spell, the game just goes longer, and in the end, you always lose to the Planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm. So the longer it goes, the worse it is for you, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes they flood out, but never happened too much. You can win it. I won the matchup sometimes, but I'm not confident to say that you always can win it. So.
All right. Very good. So since it's pretty hard, what are your objectives in the game's post-sideboard?
You want to have cards against the hate, because they bring some hate cards in. They bought big flying creatures, that you want to have some removal for that.
Okay.
And you want to look for weak spots. If they tap out, you have to punish them. It's in a sideboard even more important in the sideboard games, because on turn 2 they can tap out for Stony Silence, and if you have the Nature's Claim, you should punish them in either way possible.
Okay. So cyber plans on the play and on the draw are the same for all these matchups we're going to discuss.
It's all the same.
Very good. So what goes out and what goes in?
So out goes 3 Welding Jar, 1 Throne of Get, 2 Steel Overseer, and 1 Mox Opal.
Okay.
So Welding Jar goes out because they have only exile removal in form of Path to Exile, and they have Terminus. So Welding Jar doesn't protect your creatures or permanents at all.
Okay.
That's why we are taking this out. The Throne of Get, it's just a worse Steel Overseer, but with haste, we have to mention. But if they have Stony Silence, you don't even get the 1/1 body.
Okay, so it gets nullified.
Yes, completely.
All right.
So we take it out because we know what we hate to expect. Yes. That's why we bring it. We put it in the sideboard.
Sure.
Also, we put our 2 Steel Overseer because, as we mentioned, it's like a 2-mana 1/1. When Stony Silence is there, it can win the game uncontested because it's that powerful. But you don't want to draw multiples if they have an active fate card. And we take out 1 Mox Opal because we don't need to be as fast as possible, because you can always punish them on turn 2, 3, or 4 and don't need to explode on the board because they have exile removal and they have Terminus, for example, which can, for 1 mana, sweep you completely.
Sure. You want to have cards that actually do something in the post-cyber games rather than having maybe the hope of an explosive start, but it might not be enough.
Yeah, you want to be explosive as possible, but
but also have the key cards.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So you have to make room for it for them. Yeah. All right. So what comes in?
Khan, Scion of Urza.
Yeah.
Is a card does value. The minus ability plays good against Stony Silence, because it's a planeswalker and generate a very big dude. It gains card advantage at some point, so you just plus it. They get to choose what you get, but the third ability from Khan, Scion of Urza says you can just pick up what you want.
So eventually you will get what you want.
Evolutionary Leap, because you want a sack outlet for the Throne of Get. Throne of Get was a sack outlet. Now you want a different one because it generates value, protects from Path to Exile, exiling effect, and generate value. So that's a good addition. You want to have 3 Nature's Claim because they bring in Stony Silence and sometimes Detention Sphere. You can be aware of it's a card that's getting killed by Nature's Claim, and having the answer for their initial answers for your deck. Yeah, it's just needed. Then you have 1 Relic of Progenitus, because they have Snapcaster Mages. Sometimes you can get them. It's an artifact. You find it with your Ancient Steerings. And it sometimes disrupt your opponent because they have counter spells, Graveyard, Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, sometimes relevant.
You have to shut down a little bit their engine, because otherwise they get all the value with Snapcaster Mage. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And you bring in 1 Dismember, because as we mentioned, they bring in a big flying creature every time in form of Baneslayer Angel or Lyra.
Yeah.
Sometimes both, even. But having a -5 for the Angel for 1 mana can be backbreaking as well. I had games where he's just tapping out on turn 5, I killed it, and then just swing for lethal in the next turn, because he was thinking of he could block anything with his big first striking creature.
Okay. All right, so you have the answers over there. So all these cards help you out, but it's still going to be a tough matchup, I guess.
Yes, in the end, you want to dodge this matchup. Sometimes you can be lucky, but you shouldn't bet on it.
Okay, very good. So next, we have another matchup that you're pretty, actually, I would say, likely to play in competitive environment. We're talking about humans.
Exactly. If you see a human's opponent on the other side, you can be quite happy.
Okay, well, that's good. So it's a favorite matchup for you.
Yes, it's completely opposite to the previous matchup we talked about. Humans is a deck, he's playing on the ground, but you do as well, but you guys getting even bigger than his and you have more explosive starts than him. So it comes down to their draw. They can sometimes be turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and then 2 lieutenants or stuff. They can overrun you. You have to be aware of that because this deck is that powerful. But in the end, you have a positive matchup against them.
Okay. So you're favored, but still you need to focus and have a plan for what you're going to do in the game post-sideboard. So
Exactly.
What are your objectives?
Objectives is controlling the board, getting wide most of the time with the animation model, and controlling blocks and find the ways to win the game as fast as possible. So look for angles.
Is it possible to win fast, or is it a matchup that tends to go longer?
It's possible to win fast because you can just have an Ink Moth Nexus, just put 4 counters on it, and swing 2 times, and he is then dead. Sometimes he has flying blocking creatures, but you can just do a lethal attack with sacking everything and just put it on a Nexus because he has no instant speed removal in punishing you. They have Aether Vial, but you see it coming when they have 3 counters on it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So you have to be aware of that.
Yes.
All right. So sideboard plans. What goes out and what goes in?
So we take out Evolutionary Leap and Welding Jar. Evolutionary Leap goes out because it's a value card, and you don't really need a value card in this matchup because it goes all down to just controlling the board with animation model. It's just a card. It's an enter the battlefield trigger. You just pay 1 mana, have another blocker for their biggest creature, build your creatures up, and Evolutionary Leap doesn't fit in this plan quite well.
Okay.
And we do 1 Welding Jar. It's sometimes you have to block and regenerate your creature, but they don't have any enchantment removal on instant speed, like Ancient Grudge or Nature's Claim, for example. They have creatures, and also, like mentioned before, you see it coming because they can just beat on instant speed when they have Aether Vial.
Yeah, sure. Okay, and what comes in?
We bring 2 Dismember in because sometimes they have freebooter or a blocker you want to remove, and having a removal for that comes quite handy. Okay,
so you want to have like 2 spot removals, but
exactly.
You're already favored, so you didn't need to board much cards in.
Exactly. All the creature removal, all the creature decks are kind of a good deck, and with the rise of humans and now spirits and all this kind of stuff, you feel quite comfortable with the deck.
All right, okay. So we can go to the next matchup. And we're talking about Mono Green Tron. Is a deck you're actually pretty familiar with, I guess.
Exactly. It's one of my favorite decks.
Yeah, all right. So this time you're on the other side. You're not playing this deck, you're playing against it. So is it favored or unfavored?
It's kind of even. It depends on the draw, on your draw and on your opponent's draw, because we both know how powerful Tron can be. And if it draws the right lands in the right order and have the right card on turn 3, it's backbreaking for like every deck. And so here, the card we are most afraid of is if this is the stone on turn 4 with playing and cracking and destroying our whole board because it's a way of
Oblivion Stone. This is the card we're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
And it's one of the cards that can swipe your Hardened Scales.
Yeah, it can also destroy the enchantment, so Hardened Scales as well. So it's like a key piece of your deck.
Exactly.
That gets destroyed.
And that's a card. That's why we have to kill him and have to watch out for something like this.
Okay, so if you're talking about the objectives post-sideboard, one of the objectives would actually be play around Oblivion Stone or having answers to Oblivion Stone?
No, you have to be aware of Oblivion Stone because you can't just overextend, so that means you have sometimes you need to slow roll your Hardened Scales for the turn you can kill him, because that's a card that sticks not long enough. Because he boards in answered like Nature's Claim because it just kills every creature you play.
Sure.
And answers your Hardened Scales as well. So you have to watch out for their answers to your stuff, and just try to set up a kill in one turn.
Okay, so you actually want to set up your game so you can do one lethal swing. That's one of the objectives that you have in the post-Sideboard games.
Sometimes you have to do it on like 2 turns with Inkmoth Nexus.
Okay.
Because Inkmoth Nexus is hard for him to kill. Oblivion Stone kills no creatures, no land creatures. That's why Inkmoth Nexus is a huge problem for him. But there you have to watch out again. They play Field of Ruin and Ghost Quarters.
Okay.
So
your land can be destroyed.
So you should always be aware of that as well.
Okay. Is it a matchup in which you want to be as fast as possible? You want to go for closing the game fast?
Yeah, we try to close the game as fast as possible because as it goes long and long, they draw more mana, more threats, and at some point they overwhelm you. And if it goes to Ulamog most of the time, you can win, but it's still very, very hard.
All right. Okay. So Sideboard plans. What goes out and what goes in?
So we take out 1 Evolutionary Leap because, as I mentioned before, it's not a matchup we want value. So we take it out. And 3 animation modules because we don't have the time to go white.
Okay.
Most spends more turns or having some other active engines to just play as much creature as possible out of it.
All right. And what comes in?
So the best answer for Tron, Damping Sphere.
4 Damping Sphere. 4 Damping Sphere in the sideboard, 4 copies of it, just for this kind of matchups. And one is Mono Green Tron.
Yeah, exactly. For all the combo matchups, because there is not only the mana, they can't produce more than 1 mana clause on the card, but even the storm clauses on it. So if they play multiple cards,
they have to pay more.
They have to pay more. So it's an overlapping sideboard card. You want 4 here and 4 in other matchups.
But here is pretty crucial.
Here is pretty crucial because if you play it on turn 2, it's not like Blood Moon. When you had Blood Moon on the play against Tron, it came right in time. But if you had it on the draw, it could sometimes be too late because they have 1 turn window to play Khan, for example. And Damping Sphere costs 2 mana, so if you have it in your open hand, it comes always right in time, even on the draw and so on the play. That's why this card is so powerful.
Sure. You want to have 4. You want to be sure that on turn 2 you maximize your chances to play it on turn 2.
Yes.
And it's a card they have to deal with.
Yes.
Otherwise they go nowhere.
Yes. Because if you go to 5, 6, 7 mana naturally, it's most of the time too late. Because we are an explosive deck and we can win very hard, very fast.
Okay. Hit hard and close the game fast.
Yes.
All right, very good. So next we have Jund, a deck that came back. I mean, now that Assassin's Trophy has been printed.
Yes. So that's a deck that's, to the time we prepared for the GP, was non-existent. But now we consulted a little bit, talked about it. And Assassin's Trophy is a card that's helping the archetype quite well. Because it's an answer to everything. A good hit out of Bloodbraid Elf. He was missing that, I think, for quite a while. And now they can be they can be at the top tables again.
Yeah, absolutely true. So how do you see this matchup? Favored or not favored?
Because it's a fair granny matchup, I see it favored. I see it like the Mardu Pyromancer deck. They now have some more answers to your permanents, but there's just more removal spells, and removal spells don't really bother you. Because you have creatures like Hangerback Walker in your deck that has a very good time against Jund.
Sure. There's a lot of value in it. I mean, they can even kill it or destroy it, but you get the tokens and
so we get the tokens, and that's that's winning it. Most of the time.
They solve a problem, but they have another to deal with afterwards. All right. Okay. So objectives in the game's post-sideboard. What do you want to do against Jund?
Just having a controlling long game. You can play the long games against them because, as we mentioned, we have cards like Animation Model, Hangerback Walker, after Sideboard Khan, Sign of Urza in our deck to make value, generate value, and want you that you play the game longer because they go out of cards and you can never stop having cards. That's why,
you can afford to play in a longer game, and eventually you just gain the advantage you need and seal the deal. Let's say
you have to watch out because they have Ancient Grudge is the best card against you, but even this implied 2-1 is most of the time not good enough. You have to watch out being overrun by Tarmogoyfs, but yeah, in the end, you can manage.
Yeah, there are some threats you have to play around or beware, but yeah, still.
For example, if you have the animation module, you can always produce a jump blocker for the Tarmogoyf, and so it's like the card is negated.
Okay, so that's the way to approach this kind of situation. All right, so cyber plans. What goes out and what goes in?
Out goes the Throne of Get, because it's again an sack outlet, and like a Steel Overseer, you don't need to have this effect as fast as possible. And you try to go for the long plan, that's why you bought it out. You bought out a Mox Opal because, as mentioned, you play the long game, you don't need an explosive start. And one Welding Jar. They have removal for you guys, but you don't need 3. That's why you take just 1 out. And in goes the Khan Scion of Urza, because it's a Planeswalker they have to deal with. It makes very big creatures in your deck, like 7/7s, 8/8s with the -2 ability.
Oh, why? Okay, so it's really big, really fast.
Yes,
yeah.
We have just all artifacts, and yeah, that's why the -2 ability shines on this card. We have a Relic of Progenitors just to make your Tarmogoyfs smaller, and 1 Evolutionary Leap, because that's the for the Throne of Get, the sack outlet you want to generate value.
Okay, very good. Next, we have, we're talking about graveyard stuff, so we have Dredge here. So Dredge is another deck we have to consider. Okay, so...
Dredge is the new thing on the market again, because they got a new tool. They got a new card from the new set, Creeping Chill. It's a card, when it goes from the deck to the graveyard, you can exile it, and your opponent lose 3, and you gain 3.
Okay.
So it's
talking about life here. 3
yes,
life.
Yeah. And it's a free spell, and Dredge can get their opponents under 10 life with them, that your Bloodghast have haste right away.
Sure.
And they play 4, so they mill their deck pretty fast.
Yeah.
And we talk about 12 life in the end. So it's like 12 free life you lose out of nowhere just by them basically drawing a card.
Yeah, okay. So it fits perfectly actually in their strategy, because they mill themselves, so you get the effect just because the card is milled.
Yes.
And also, as you were mentioning, Bloodghast, also other stuff that interacts pretty well with the cards. So yeah, it doesn't surprise that actually the deck is back because of this new tool. The matchup is favored or unfavored for you?
It's very close. It's because they can be very fast. They find their hate cards in form of Ancient Grudge fast, but one side only, but still it can disrupt you, and they have ley lines, so which you have to watch out. Okay.
So it's very important actually to be aware of the ley lines. Okay, so what are your objectives in the game's post sideboard?
The game's post sideboard is you want answers for their hate cards, and you actually have cards to disrupt their main plan. So you want both of them.
Okay. So attacking the game plan and having answers to the ley lines or whatever hate they bring.
Most of the time they have ley lines, because the black ley lines, because that doesn't affect their graveyard. Their graveyard is the most important part of their deck. So having a card that just exiles opponent graveyards, the best card they have.
All right, okay. So what goes out and what goes in? Cyber plan here in detail.
So we take out 1 Evolutionary Leap, because that's a grindy card, and we don't need to grind because we need to win and disrupt. Throne of Get, exactly the same. It's a card I bought out most of the time, because it's effect you don't want to have post sideboard anymore. I bought out 3 animation models, because you can't go wide, or don't really need to go wide against this matchup. You just want to make this lethal flying creature, or just hang a Arcbound Ravager as big as much and win from there. And you bought out 1 Welding Jar,
Okay.
Because you need to make room, and that's a card you can afford to lose.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very good. So what comes in?
We put in 2 Craftigger's Cage because this disrupts their game plan. They can't reanimate their Prize Amalgam, Craftig Bloodgust from the graveyard, or Necromöben doesn't come into play. You want to have 1 Relic of Progenitors because exile in the graveyard can sometimes be backbreaking for them.
Okay.
And you want to have 3 Nature's Claim.
Okay.
Because the answer for the ley line.
Yeah, as we said before, you need this card actually to be sure. You need to actually go through this matchup in the post-Sideboard games.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Absolutely. All right, I think we set it all for this one.
Yes.
So we can go for the next matchup. And we're talking about Hollow One. But again, well, not really based only on the graveyard, but still graveyard interactions and stuff with this one as well.
There's a mix of both of them, but mostly they're trying to make a big 4/4 on turn 1 or turn 2.
Yeah.
Or
Hollow One himself.
Or multiple, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so favored or unfavored from your perspective?
It's a favored because it's still a ground-based strategy with ground creatures, and a 4/4 is not big enough if you do some unfair stuff as well.
Okay. Your creatures can get big fairly fast, so you can contain actually that kind of threat.
Yes. They can be explosive if they do Burning Inquiry or Fatal Looting plus Street Rave on turn 1 and have like 2 or 3. It's very tough, but you can also win when they play 3 Hollow Ones on turn 1 and you're on the draw. Okay. Because you can win by turn 2, turn 3 through anything.
All right, so pretty fast as well. Yeah. Okay, so objectives post Sideboard. What do you want to do against Hollow One? Against
Hollow One, like before, they bring hate cards against you in form of Leyline again, the black Leyline.
Okay, so answers for the...
You want answers for their hate card in general. Because, as we said, they're a ground-based deck, and you are the biggest on the ground most of the time. So blocking is mostly relevant, and having to overlap their the anti-removal, anti-hate card that we bought in also hits their turn 0 creature.
Okay.
In form of Hollow One.
Okay. Excellent. So sideboard plan in detail. What do you board out and what do you board in?
We bought out 3 Welling Jar because we don't need your artifact protection, and you most of the time block profitably against them. Yeah. So you don't need the regeneration aspect. We bought out the Evolutionary Leap and the Tron of Get again. So, as mentioned before, their value cards or the effect, you don't need to have it on the second or the third game of the match.
All right.
What we bought in for Nature's Claim, because it's a card against Leyline, it kills Hollow One. So, it's a card we need.
Yeah, covers a lot of stuff here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we bought in 1 Relic of Progenitors, delaying Goldmark Angler, hitting Bloodghasts or Flamewake Phoenixes with it can be helpful as well.
Sure.
Cards.
One more asset for you on your side.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, very good. So we have another matchup here that we want to talk about in this Sideboard guide. We're talking about the good old KCI.
Yes.
Krark-Clan Ironworks. So this one, is it a favorite or unfavored? Because it's a combo thing. So
it's a combo deck, and combo decks are not good for you.
Okay.
So that's why it's one of the matchups I lost to in GP Stockholm on day 1.
Okay.
Because you just sit there and watch them do what they do.
So in that situation, your only hope is actually that your opponent makes a mistake.
Yes, exactly. I played the deck quite a lot in preparation for Pro Tour 25 anniversary, and in the end I decided against it to play it, but that's a different story. But for that, I knew what KCI is doing. And if you see your opponent do or try to do their combo and doesn't do it properly, it kind of hurts.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, what do you want to do in the game post sideboard in this matchup?
You want to draw your anti combo.
Okay.
Cards.
So you want to have answers to hinder their combo. You want to hinder their strategy, their game plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you can hinder their game plan, you're a linear aggressive deck. You can just combo him out.
Sure.
And win from there.
Okay, safe and sound, very straightforward. So sideboard plans, what goes out and what goes in?
And again, the Evolutionary Leap and the Throne of Get, they both go always out together. Because we are in this matchup, it's a combo deck, so we have no time for any value shenanigans. We take out 3 Welling Jar, because they bring in Nature's Claim as well, but you don't really need to protect your stuff.
Okay.
You have to be aware that they have Nature's Claim, but you can see it coming because they need to have a normal land active or have to be an artifact in form of Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star on the battlefield to greg for their color of their choice, because they have many colorless lands as well. So you can see it when they actually maybe have it, because normally they crack it main phase, all their stuff, and if they don't, they're most of the time up.
Okay, so that's an indicator, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
And then we take out 3 animation models, because we have no time to going wide.
Yeah. They combo pretty fast.
They can win on turn 3, so we have to be aware of that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what comes in?
So the good old 4 Nature's Claim, because they are an all artifact deck, and if you kill the right artifact at the right moment, you can get another turn. So it's always nice. And the best card in the sideboard for Damping Sphere.
Damping Sphere again here. Okay.
Because they're a stormy deck, they play multiple cards in one turn, and this card denies it.
Sure. So the mana is taxed, so they have to play more and more. Okay.
Yeah, as mentioned before in Tron, it's not about the lands produce just one mana. It's about multiple cards can't be played in one turn.
All right. Okay. So that's it.
Yes.
We also covered this one last matchup. So we reached the end of this episode, this Sideboard guide. Pretty extensive. I mean, we're talking about 7 different matchups and all pretty relevant, I would say. So, well, thank you very much, Joshua, again for being here.
I was happy being here.
So you are coming back pretty soon, hopefully, because it's been a while between this video and the last one that we did together. But now maybe we can, get organized again and produce a few more sideboard guides and good stuff. All right, very good. So thank you very much. Thank you again. And a big thank you to all of you who've been watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below on YouTube. And also, if you want to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/HEDRON.TV, twitter.com/HEDRON.TV. And, in case someone has questions about what we discussed today, can they reach you on Twitter or something?
Yes, ValerJ90 on Twitter.
Okay, excellent. So ValerJ90, that's the way you can actually ask Joshua directly questions if you have any. Last but not least, stay tuned on HEDRON.TV for more content to come. And for now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.